Hi guys, Mark here, Celtic Crossbows. An update on what's happening with the government's research into what they're trying to find out about people and their weaponry. Now, this link below for the government website for your crossbows. The government are trying to find out as much as they can about the people of this country and their archery habits. It's a double-edged sword for anybody filling in this form below. What they want to know is how many weapons you have, what ammunition you have, etc., how much you spend, how much you got in your house, how many bolts you use a year, do you have broadheads, what do you think broadheads should be banned? It goes in depth to all this, get you to fill it all in, then right at the end of it, it asks you for your address. And this is the double-ended sword. They want to know the state of the country. What do we think about the woke government we got in charge over the last few years and how they stripped us systematically of our rights? Things from like smoking to what people don't even know, that we're now being monitored daily on every finger stroke on all digital devices. This is why BT are removing analog landlines, as GCHQ can no longer afford to monitor them, whereas digital phone lines can be monitored. This is what to watch out for, folks. Whatever you say on the phone, watch what you're saying. Any emails you send, watch what you're saying. Text messages, watch what you're saying. Anything which is sensitive information, go back to a good old-fashioned sealed envelope with wax and see if it gets opened by the time it gets to the other side. To your below intent, it takes longer, but it's still the most secure method to know if your mail is being tampered with and what the government has not read. Right then, okay, back on this petition. The petition is now live on the UK government website. You can go and have a look and sign it. It is from my personal contribute to stop the government from pushing through with this insane act they're trying to impose. Okay, what is this insane act for those who don't know? The first thing they're looking to ban is broadheads. Now they're very clever and very specific on the wording on the government website where they say broadhead arrows. No, this is very clever. They don't ask for quarrels, they don't ask for bolts, arrows. That means archery. They're going after the archery fraternity here. So if you're a lifelong archer, family tradition, whether you're a Fletcher or a bowyer and you make arrows, this will affect you directly. This will affect your business, this will affect your trade. So it is limiting what you can do. Big companies like Steamboat, EK Archery, etc., a large amount of what they sell. In broadheads, even though hunting is illegal in the UK, there's people in the UK who still make equipment and export to other countries or resellers. This will directly affect your business, it'll affect your customers, and in the end it will restrict your lifestyle and the things that you are doing. Okay, the next thing, so once they've restricted the archery bows, what are they looking to do with archery broadheads? What are they looking to ban then? Okay, there's evidence that they didn't anticipate the sudden rise in lethality of crossbows due to modern technology. So as things like Steamboat, EK Archery and other manufacturers such as Yak, etc., with magazine crossbows, they are looking to make these outright banned. So there's going to be a return to single shot crossbows. How they are wording the eventualities as well, they're not going to leave it there, because they want to know things like what bows you're using, therefore they want to know the power of the crossbows you're using. So I think we're going to see an imposed legal limit, such as a 12 foot-pound legal limit as air rifles, which means if you're using a high power crossbow, you may as well kiss your ass goodbye or get an FAC. Okay, while we're on the FACs, if you have an air bow in the UK now and is over 12 foot-pounds, this is now classified as a firearm, and if you do have a 12 foot-pound air bow that is exceeding the legal limit of an air rifle, this is now classed as a firearm, and if you're caught with it, you will face prison time. This is already in effect, even although they've not publicised it across the internet, national TV or anything else. This is another stealth law by the government using another law to take away your property and your liberty. What about the FAC laws which they are proposing? Perhaps you was a wayward lad back in 1989, perhaps you was a miner's son, perhaps you pinched the odd car stereo, perhaps you was up to mischief, you needed to make money. That was over 35 years ago, but you could still find yourself under scrutiny by the government and the police forces and have all your decades worth of archery and hunting equipment removed, because as far as they're concerned, you're not sensible enough to be able to pull a string. Yes, that's right. Under this new goof to Wentworth government, if you're incapable of making a decision whether to tie your shoelace or not, then you must be deemed an illegal criminal, and therefore they'll squeeze in under the Terrorist Act. I can only assume, because there's no other reason why in the last 35 years did they propose to take your weaponry away, but now by manipulation of the laws they're now looking to do that. One blazing hole in the system which the government or nobody else is prepared to admit is that although in the last 10 years less than 7 deaths have been contributed to the use of the crossbow, let's be honest folks, when was the last time you've seen somebody running through King Street or something like that in London, branching a crossbow screaming Allah Akbar? Never. You don't even see Muslims running around with crossbows. You don't see Christians running around with crossbows. They can't bring the religious argument into it, so they can't get you there. What they can get you on is, however, if you had a criminal record 25, 35, 45 years ago, which included a sentence, even suspended sentences of 3 years or more, will it give you a lifelong ban on FAC. Bringing crossbows in under the FAC will mean all your equipment you've used the last 25, 40 years, you will now have removed from you. If you do not register it, you will be in breach of FAC laws, and you will find yourself back in prison again, and again, further down to your life. If you're in prison, you can't pay your bills, you can't pay your fines, you will have your facilities taken away, such as your car, etc. if you've got loans, unless you've got other people to pay it for you while you're inside. This is why we must fight this draconian law system. So people in the UK watching this, it doesn't matter if you're African, Indian, Pakistani, Muslim, Polish, Catholic. If you love your sport, then you will do your utmost. Sign this petition below and fight this draconian system. People who enjoy things like all the way from Pakistan and India enjoy the Olympic sports will no longer be allowed in the UK. Is there proof of this? Yes, there is. At the last Commonwealth Games held in Birmingham, all coverage of any archery was completely banned from the Commonwealth Games, even although archery is one of the top sports globally and held every 4 years at the Olympics. Olympic shooting. The British Olympic team has to shoot in France and train in France because they banned in their own country from using a standard target pistol. When was the last time you heard an Olympic athlete running again through the middle of London taking pot shots at the soldiers at Horse Guards? The answer is never. It is the government just digging to cover their own backsides for their wayward ways with the laws and not upholding the laws and using them correctly in this country. People who have been law abiding and have committed crimes in the past will now find themselves back under the watchful gaze of the law with absolutely no defence whatsoever to it, because they will be able to, under suspicion, just walk into your house and take your equipment. What is your defence to these draconian laws? Well, here's some options you can do. You can vote Labour at the next election. Labour with Idris Elba are proposing that all swords and knives are banned outright in the next election. So if you're a swordsmith, a rapier, if you're an actor that uses swords, etc., they will be banned outright in the UK. Except for actors like Idris Elba, who can afford to shoot off to America and places like that and do filming over there. It doesn't affect him anyway whatsoever. He's never been interested in the sport or hobby since he was a child, but it is something he feels so strongly about that should take it away from the rest of us. So the next election, do not vote Labour. What about Conservative? Well, Conservative proposing to take away your crossbows. Conservative are the ones who took away all your firearms licences, etc., banning pistols in the UK. Which means the only ones with pistols in the UK are either outright criminals, mobsters, gangs, triads, mafia, the police. Yes, I do include the police because more people have died at the hands of the police in the last 10 years than have died at the hands of a crossbowier. So why aren't the pistols by the police banned? Because there's one rule for government, another rule for the public. What is the public? It is us. What is the government? It's the parliament, the parliamentarians. What kind of power do the parliamentarians have? Well, let's put it this way. The parliamentarians took the head of King Charles I, stuck it on Tower Bridge, and then robbed the family since of all their rights. Even today, King Charles of today is still subject to being under the thumb by the UK Parliament and government, which means that even the Royal Guards at Horse Guards are not armed, and that's why you've got the police armed at Horse Guards, because they're the only ones allowed to have ammunition, which puts them over the army. Therefore, it is still the Roundhead versus the parliamentarians. It hasn't changed since the 1500s with the War of the Roses. So it doesn't matter if you're black, white, yellow or brown, at the next elections, vote reform and sign the petition below. You might not agree with reform and some of their ideologies, but if you are serious about your field sports and activities in the UK, it is the only option left to you. We have now been backed into a corner where no matter what we say is not heard, freedom of speech is being taken away. This we know is a fact. It is now illegal, in effect, to carry the Union Jack. It can be fined for it. It is registered as a non-crime crime. How the hell does that make sense? So if you really believe in your country, even if you're from a foreign country and you've come to reside in Britain, and back in India, Pakistan, China, etc., where archery is a massive thing, and I watch it regularly, the World Archery on YouTube, do yourself a favour, do your countrymen a favour, sign a petition below. It doesn't affect colour, it doesn't affect race, it doesn't affect religion. This is for your rights and an ability to shoot in the UK is a nation given right by King Charles I, who was beheaded by the very people he tried to protect us from. Thanks and bye bye.